It can't be 0630 yet. XO, what's up?
Morning, Skipper. We just received an urgent message from Com Subland.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Classic Gaming Brothers. I'm Zach.
And I'm Seth.
And we're the Classic Gaming Brothers.
That's right. We are the Classic Gaming Brothers.
That's right. We are well into November. Daylight savings has passed.
Oh, it has. We fall back.
We fell back.
And you spring forward.
That's true. That is what they say. Spring forward, fall back. We're getting closer and closer to...
Do you think Andy springs forward?
Do they have daylight savings?
I don't know. I would just assume it's the opposite because it's Australia.
Oh, Andy, if you're listening, do you spring forward or do you fall back?
Do you fall forward and spring back?
Oh, or did your country get rid of daylight savings because it's kind of a weird thing?
We could, in fact, look it up immediately through Google.
That's not fun. I like having interactions between our fans. This weekend, I would have gone to Rhode Island's Comic-Con yesterday.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Welcome to the great little state.
Yes. Fantastic. I enjoyed my time. I probably bought some comic books. I may have bought some video games. And I may have recorded audio. I don't know. If I did, I'll drop some in, or who knows? We'll see what happened.
Maybe you interviewed some famous video game people.
Maybe, or maybe I interviewed Chevy Chase.
Did you interview Classic Dad?
Well, I interviewed Classic Dad last week for Tron, yeah. So
nice.
Our fans would have already heard his audio for that.
Oh, I'm excited for that because I haven't even heard it.
I know. Now, if I forgot to include a disclaimer, Classic Dad has been wanting me to make sure I mention, and if I forgot to include it in the Tron episode, then, so be it. But he wanted me to mention that while he liked the movie, he wasn't a big fan of the ending, and he did not mention that in his review, and he wants to make it very clear he did not like the ending of the movie. He thought it fell a little flat at the end, but he did like the rest of the film.
But his review was positive.
Yes, he kept saying, should I re-record that? And I said, we don't re-record anything.
No, we don't.
That's how we lost episodes.
But we recovered them. We went back into the archives.
Yes,
and that's why we have a puzzle episode.
Yes, that's a great episode.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, maybe I'll record some audio at Rhode Island Comic-Con and drop it in, probably not in this episode, but maybe in the next episode if I remember to. We'll see.
Yeah, or you don't, and nobody cares.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. Unless you meet somebody famous, like the Ryan from the Galaga episode, you can try and get an interview with him at RI Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Are you planning on, or did you partake of any fun Rhode Island staples?
Probably.
Like Dell's lemonade?
Maybe.
Or a hot wiener, perhaps?
Quite possibly.
Or perhaps even
coffee milk?
I was going to go with party pizza, but coffee milk is also an acceptable
I put them
answer.
all together in a blender, and I made a party pizza, coffee milk, wiener, Dell cabinet.
No. Those things don't go together.
Anything goes together if you shove it into a blender.
Coffee milks and cabinets go together, but that's really it for going together. Anyway, Zach.
Yes, Seth.
What have you recently been playing?
Recently, I've been thinking about our episode on Tron, and it made me realize that I really wanted to play Tron 2.0, one of the games we talked about. So I picked it up. It's on Steam. It actually just, I think, got re-released on Steam very recently because they wanted to capitalize on Tron Ares. And I downloaded it. I downloaded the Killer App patch, which fixes the widescreen issues. The game came out in 2003, so widescreen is not available. So the Killer App mod adds in widescreen capabilities and does a little bit of some bug fixes and such. But Tron 2.0 was developed by Monolith and published by Buena Vista Interactive, and it's a first-person shooter where you play as Jethro Bradley, also known as Jet, who is the son of Alan Bradley from the original Tron. Jet gets digitized into the NCOM system to fight a corrupted program named Thorn, who is spreading through the system his corruption. It's a really fun game. I like the aesthetic, the gameplay mechanics themselves. You get to throw around your identity disc, which looks like a frisbee, at various other programs. And when you hit them, they explode and do the classic, 1980s Tron explosion sound. And it's very much a game that is built on the aesthetic of that classic 1980s Tron. You get to do the light cycle from Tron. It's been slightly updated though. You get a cool looking new light cycle that looks more like a motorcycle, but it still has the classic light cycle movement of going like 90-degree angles. And yeah, it's just a really fun game. I've been enjoying it a lot. One thing I found interesting is the game is based on an energy currency system. So certain items and weapons cost energy, which you can get from different nodes in the game or from defeating enemies and picking up energy like packets. And if you encounter like a what's called an archive bin, which is like a chest, you do need to spend energy to open it, and sometimes you need to spend energy to patch your system to use new abilities. So it really plays around with the whole like computer elements of patching and defragging and stuff like that. And it can be a tough game. One of my favorite sequences that was difficult but still good, difficult but challenging difficult, not like difficult like it was obnoxious, was the sequence where you have to outrun the system format while trying to avoid corrupted programs who are trying to stop you. That is a pretty fun sequence of just running and kind of jumping over things as this giant wall of red comes just barreling at you because the whole computer is being formatted that you're on as they're trying to fix it from the outside.
Kind of like Reboot.
Yeah, kind of like Reboot, actually, yeah.
Did we ever do an episode on Reboot?
No, maybe we'll do an episode on Reboot.
Such a
Did you
good
know they did like a remake of Reboot? It's really bad, apparently.
Are you talking about the last season?
Is it the last season? It was like recently made.
Oh, no. There was a break, a little Reboot lore. There was a period of episodes that were pre-censorship protections. There were some heavy censoring protections on the Reboot show. That's why Dot has like a uniboob and stuff like that because of the censorships, and like they can't talk about hockey or something. It's really weird. But then I think they either said like F the censors or something, and then they started doing whatever they want, and that's when they got really dark.
What I'm thinking of was the 2018 television show made in Canada called Reboot the Guardian Code, which was in fact a teen drama live action / sci-fi show set in the Reboot universe. And apparently it's not very good.
I was going to say, that sounds really bad.
Megabytes in it though, so that's fun.
Like the cool part of Reboot is that it's CGI.
Yeah. It's not apparently a good show, though apparently they do a crossover with the original show, and the original characters show up at one point. Well, I guess that's nice.
Also, apparently, we could talk about this in a Reboot episode, but apparently they never finished the season 4. They left it on a cliffhanger, and the creator has refused to reveal plans for any of the resolution or final episodes in case he ever gets to resolve the cliffhanger himself. There's also a video game based on it.
Yeah, we'll do an episode on Reboot. Maybe that'll be next week's episode. But in any case, Tron 2.0 is a fun game. I really like it. And yeah, if you're a fan of Tron, I'd recommend it. Though just be aware that it was decanonized by the film Tron Legacy, which is a little funny because there's a quest in the game where you have to find the code for the Tron program, and you're looking for the code called Tron Legacy. And this was before the movie was made. And I was like, they keep saying Tron Legacy so many times, and it's really confusing me. But definitely recommend checking it out. It is available on Steam, and there are plenty of patches to get it to look as good as it can on modern hardware. Seth, what about you? What have you been recently playing?
Recently I've been playing Strange Horticulture, which was released back in 2022 by Bad Viking and published by Iceberg Interactive. It's an occult puzzle game. A la Paper Please, but instead of you running a border patrol, you're running a flower shop. And people come in with problems, and you need to help them find the right flower. Well, it's not just flowers, it's a horticultural shop. So there's sometimes mushrooms or sticks with leaves on them. And you have to provide these plants for your visitors to be able to help solve their problem. You can also give them the wrong plant, either deliberately or accidentally, which could cause some fun things. There's a guy who comes in and he has blisters, and you can either give him the plant that is a salve to blisters, or you could give him a plant that gets more rashes because he's rude. So you can just be rude right back to him. I actually avoided playing this game for a while because Papers, Please and games like that, I really like them in theory, but they tend to stress me out because of the time component.
Yeah.
And then I discovered that Strange Horticulture doesn't have a time component.
Oh, nice.
And you can take as long as you want to help these customers. And so like Papers, Please, or I'm trying to think of another, the Pawn Store game. There's definitely like games where if you don't get through it fast enough, you'll lose out on people. Not with Strange Horticulture. There's no end of day until you've seen everybody. So you can just sit and have this person like, they're like, I need this plant. And you could just like slowly just flip through your book, look up your plant, take it under the microscope, think about it, whether or not it's the right plant, decide to be like, yeah, I think this is the right one, and give it to them. And then you get a little ding if it's the right one. I actually don't know what would be the wrong one because I'm pretty good at identifying plants. And then you also have a black cat that you can pet. And if you pet the cat a bunch of times, it will purr and you get achievements. There's also various other things that are going on. There's a whole map that you can explore, like this forest, streams, towns. You can go into them. There's like cults and covens and that you can deal with. It's a good game to play around this time. It's kind of spooky. It's got the spooky vibes. And there's also a new Strange Antiquities game that just came out very recently. That has more puzzle elements put into it, but I haven't played it because I'm trying to play Strange Horticulture first, because I was like, oh, Strange Antiquities looks like a game that I kind of like, and I'm like, oh, it's the sequel to Strange Horticulture. I'm like, I own it. I've only played a little bit of it. Why did I give it up? And then I started playing it again, and I'm loving it. Really enjoy it. It's a great little game if you're looking for a cozy, creepy game that's not too creepy. It's, in fact, not creepy at all. It's just kind of odd, I guess. It's not scary at all. It's just kind of, like you're dealing with some cults and stuff like that. So it's sometimes a little off the beaten path, as it were. Yeah, Strange Horticulture by Bad Viking.
By Bad Viking. Cool. Maybe I'll check it out. Well, getting into today's episode, producer Doug told us that if we don't talk about Golden Sun, then he's going to cut our funding. Joke's on him. We don't have any funding.
We, in fact, have negative funding.
Right.
So if he cuts our funding, we're actually more profitable.
Right.
So good on you, producer Doug.
Yeah, maybe we're doing this on purpose. He wanted us to talk about Golden Sun, so we're going to talk about Silent Steel. We don't really have a reason to, besides the fact that I think we mentioned it in one of the last episodes, and Seth said, oh, we should do an episode on Silent Steel.
I don't think people understand the pure joy that Silent Steel brings to me.
Well, why don't you talk about it?
I think Silent Steel is one of the true games that really ties at my heartstrings. First of all, you play as a submarine commander, and there's nothing in life that's more fascinating than being commander of a submarine. And if you are listening to this podcast while on a submarine, cool. I hope you're having a good day. And it also has funny responses. So you can, like, in the game, and I think we'll talk a little bit about the game, but it starts off with the phone ringing, and it's from your perspective. It does like some like background, like talks about the submarine, shows like clips of the submarine. The game is pretty much 100% FMV, which is full motion video. And in the intro, there is a telephone, and it's ringing, and you pick up, and you get like a monitor that turns on, and it's your your XO, I guess. Mm-hmm. Yeah, your XO, because you're the CO. So you're the commanding officer, and then the XO is the executive officer. The XO is calling you, and you're like, what's up, XO? It's early. Like, is it time for me to wake up? And they're like, oh, we got this paperwork. And you're like, leave me alone. You could tell them to like go away. You could be serious. You could be like, I'll be right down. Or you could just be like, get away from me.
You handle it, XO. I'm beat.
Sorry, I can't do that, Skipper. The transmission is eyes only. You will have to sign for it.
Give me a minute. I need to hit the rain locker.
Aye, sir.
Yeah, I'm rested. Eyes only. Damn. Where the hell are my Rolaids?
And then you can make various decisions. I've played the game where I made decisions that I thought were correct, and I ended up getting sunk. It is one of those games where there's a quote-unquote correct path that you need to take, but it's pretty fun. And I'm pretty sure they are 100% smoking cigarettes in the... Oh, I think he's got a cigar or something.
Yeah, he's got a cigar, yeah.
Like, in a pressurized submarine. It's just the way life used to be.
You got mesothelioma from both cigars and from the asbestos that filled those submarines.
But you know what? Asbestos was a great material. It's like the Human Torch lined his entire apartment with it.
I don't really have a ton of memories of Silent Steel beyond maybe watching you play it once, but I think I only recently have played it. I think you had me play it as a retro rewind not too long ago, and I thought it was an interesting game for sure.
I think we played it for Extra Life one year, didn't we?
Oh, we did, I think, play it for Extra Life, yeah. That does sound right. That maybe if we do Extra Life again, maybe we'll revisit Silent Steel. Silent Steel is interesting. It's one of the handful of games developed by Tsunami Games, a company that was founded in 1991 by former Sierra employee Ed Heinbockel. Tsunami Games started out as a company that was largely focused on adventure titles. At their height, they had about 35 employees, less than 40 employees, so they were never huge. A lot of their employees were former Sierra employees, people like Jim Walls, who was involved in development of Police Quest 3 prior to his leaving of Sierra.
One of the first games that Tsunami released was Wacky Funsters, The Geekwad's Guide to Gaming, and its sequel, The Geekwad Games of the Galaxy. Both games are graphical adventure games where you play as a nerdy gamer, and in Wacky Funsters, you travel to the gaming realm to compete in 5 minigames, each being a parody of other games such as Frogger, which were popular at this time. Its sequel takes the Geekwad gamer to space, where you must compete in parodies of classic arcade games like Groggers, which is Froggers, but with the G for probably for Galaxy. Space Solicitors, which is Space Invaders, Defender, which is Defender, and Fleming, which is Lemmings. Because before, when you wanted to just blatantly violate somebody's copyright, you just added a couple letters to a word, and then it was okay. The game also featured pastiches of various science fiction and real-world people, with characters based on Locutus of Borg from Star Trek, Yoda from Star Wars, and the robot from Lost in Space. There was also some pastiches of Carl Sagan, the scientist.
And Einstein, I think, is another one.
In 1993, Tsunami was able to acquire the license for Larry Nivian's Ringworld books, and they would release Ringworld: Revenge of the Patriarch. The game played as a point-and-click where you had to solve various puzzles. It also did poorly on release, with Computer Gaming World calling it the 14th worst computer game ever released in 1996. And 1996, I don't know, 14 was probably pretty low on a list of not a lot of other games.
It was a decently sized list because I do know that another Tsunami game was number 38 in their worst games of all time.
Oh, of all time. See, this is just in 96.
No, this list came out in 96.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, this was a worst list of all time.
14th worst computer game
ever.
Is it worse being closer to the top or to the bottom?
Probably like first would be the absolute worst. Number 1 would be the absolute worst.
Oh, so 14's pretty bad.
Yes.
Regardless of how many games are in that list.
Now, a lot of Tsunami games would be equally mixed on their reception. Blue Force in 1993 was called abysmal by Computer Gaming World, and PC Format complained of repetitive bureaucracy. Their next game, Protostar, received 1 star from Computer and Gaming World, who complimented the overall aesthetic but called the game uninspired. Tsunami would venture into the world of FMV games with Man Enough, the ultimate social adventure, a dating game where you must attempt to gain the attraction of 5 women by utilizing a dialogue tree system. The twist at the end of the game reveals that the entire situation is a prank on the player. This twist would be referenced in a review from Entertainment Weekly, who noted that the game, quote-unquote, doesn't have the courage of its own sleaziness, and called it an expensive frustration. In 1995, Tsunami would release the game of the hour, Silent Steel, which turned up the notch on FMV gameplay quite a bit. Instead of being a game that utilized FMV sequences with like a mix of other gameplay styles, it was entirely composed of FMV sequences, with pretty much the only time that you're actually interacting being with like a pop-up menu that you would occasionally have to click on. The rest of the game was almost entirely FMV.
The game was shot on a soundstage at the Charleston Naval Shipyard in North Charleston, South Carolina. The submarine and ship footage were shot on the USS Clagamore and USS Laffey, which were docked at Patriots Point Naval Museum in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. The USS Clagamore was a submarine built by Electric Boat Company in Groton, Connecticut. The ship was originally constructed in 1945 and was still in training by the time World War II ended. The USS Laffey, a destroyer, would be constructed at the Bath Iron Works in Bath, Maine in 1943 and served as a school ship for a brief time in Norfolk, Virginia. It's interesting because I think I know what was shot on the USS Laffey because they have footage of like the admiral calling in and talking to them. I would assume so because it's up in like an open deck area, like a area where you can look out and not be in a submarine. And I feel like it's funny because it's like put off that he's like the admiral of the fleet, and knowing that it was shot in a destroyer, which is arguably like it's the smallest ship in a fleet.
Yeah.
Picture, mind you, I'm sure admirals could be on destroyers, but like I just think like you always think of like admirals and battleships and stuff like that.
Yeah,
It's
or
just
like carriers or something like that.
yeah, and I
Something,
think
like,
I think he's on a battleship in the game. Like in the game, I think he's actually supposed to be on a battleship. The USS Laffey during the invasion of France would escort tugs, landing crafts, and gunboats to Utah Beach in Normandy, and she would serve additional time in Europe before being transferred to the Pacific Front, where she was hit by a series of 4 bombs, 6 kamikaze pilots, and various other attacks on April 15th, 1945. The ship would in fact survive the encounters and would be repaired in the years after the war, and eventually go and live outside the Charleston Naval Shipyard in North Charleston and be used as a set for one of the greatest games ever
Of all
developed.
time.
It went through war to be shot for Silent Steel. That was like, it's game over. It was like, I want to go through this tragedy of war so that I could be used as a set for a submarine FMV point-and-click adventure game.
Yes.
The game Silent Steel features a full cast with Brian McNamara, who's from Short Circuit, The Flamingo Kid, Caddyshack 2, and he takes on the role of the executive officer, who is in fact the person you call. He's the first person you interact with, and you get to see him on the screen. There's also Jim Metzler, who's from Tex, Hot to Trot, and LA Confidential, and he would play the Master Chief, who's not the one from Halo, but is in fact a role on a submarine.
In the game, Silent Steel, you play as the commander of the USS Idaho, an Ohio-class submarine. Your sub receives an encrypted message that a Libyan diesel sub was stolen and left the Mediterranean, potentially heading towards your sub. You must evade the submarine, which becomes difficult as the submarine, the Libyan sub, has equipment that allows it to mask itself as other subs, including allies. You also encounter another sub on your mission, a Russian Akula-class submarine.
Right. And this is during the time where anti-Russian stuff going around, and perhaps the people on the Libyan could also have been Russians.
The gameplay of Silent Steel is primarily done as the movie plays out. Occasionally it will pause, and from there you choose an option, and when you choose that option, the movie resumes with the option that you've chosen. So, sometimes it will be like, they'll be like, oh, what should we do, Commander? And then the thing will pop up, and you choose what you do. And then it says, okay, if you're sure, Commander. And then it will play out that scenario. There are multiple outcomes, with the majority of them being that your ship sinks. There are 2 endings that are considered a win scenario, and these are the victory endings.
Oh, there is a point in time where the Admiral yells at you to insert the next disc.
Hey, Skipper, pop in the next disc. You're embarrassing me.
Had it screwed up for some reason, the way that I had it installed and emulated, and it just kept repeating that over. It was just like, insert the next disc, insert the next disc, over and over again. It was pretty great.
Silent Steel would release for Windows in a 4-disc set, which is why you had to insert the next disc, because it came in fact on 4 discs. A second release was put out in 1999 on a DVD, so you don't have to swap discs because it was in fact just one DVD. The DVD version is interesting. It's not actually a Windows playable game. It is playable on your DVD player using your remote for the DVD player, where you use the remote to choose the options. And it would be the first ever video game released on the DVD format.
Yeah, I have a DVD player. We could, in fact, get a DVD copy of Silent Steel and play it. The numbers for Silent Steel were not easy to track down. One source cited that around 100,000 copies were sold. Reviews were mixed, with some players and critics praising the design and realism, while others criticized the difficulty. There was a review from a reputable website, subsim.com, which was a website dedicated to submarine simulators. It rated the game as an 80 out of 100. It praised the game's historical accuracy, visual aesthetic, and sound design, while noting that it lacked multiplayer and noting that the game really doesn't feature much replayability. Was this a recent review of the game?
No, subsim.com is like, it's listed in
active?
subsim.com is the #1 naval game resource.
Oh, it is.
They've been on the web for 25 years.
5 years on the web? Oh, man. And they have merch?
Yeah, they have they have mods that you can download for Silent Hunter.
Why have I not
I want that shirt that just says splashes. It's going to be one of those days.
Why have I not found this website? This is great. As somebody who wants to be really into submarine simulators, this is a great web resource. I'm glad you found it.
Yeah, no, it's a great website. They have a link to Wolfpack, which is, I think, they published the game Wolfpack, which is the World War II U-boat game that is on
that's
Steam.
fun.
Yeah.
I bought U-boat. I didn't buy. I think I have Wolfpack on my wish list, but I definitely bought U-boat, which is another submarine simulator, which is very different than Silent Steel. I'm glad. I'm gonna check this website out a little bit more deeper. I'm glad that it exists. But yeah, if you type in subsim, SUBSIM.com, it will not bring you anywhere naughty. It will bring you to a website that looks like it's a little dated, but that's about it. It's still actively maintained, though. A 1995 review from PC Gamer complimented the acting and the drama, though also made a note that there really wasn't much gameplay to the game. A more critical review came out from Computer Gaming World, who also praised the visuals and sound design, but noted the game wasn't worth upgrading your computer to play MPEG files, which at the time you would have needed to have a dedicated MPEG board.
Yeah, if you wanted to watch videos back in the day, you needed an MPEG board. It wasn't until like different algorithms for compression and stuff became a bit more readily available with things like Real Player and such. So you would have had to upgrade your computer to play Silent Steel if you didn't have the proper tech.
And now you have to downgrade your computer in order to play Silent Steel.
Yeah, or get a DVD player.
Or get a DVD player. In terms of legacy, Silent Steel really doesn't have much of one. A sequel was announced but canceled. The game is not currently available on modern platforms or via modern game distribution services, though it can be found via abandonware or if you're able to locate the original DVD. We encountered it through a fun resource. We had a demo disc of Silent Steel.
Yes.
And it was a pack-in for our Packard Bell 486. There was a demo of the Silent Steel game, and so I played a part of it a lot because it was a demo. It would just end. And we never bought the game from the demo to find out how it ended. So I was able to finally see how it ended by playing it on ExoWin.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's how I was able to finally destroy the submarine that I was in.
Yeah, it is. It is kind of unfortunate that there isn't a way to officially play it. It's not available on GOG. It's not available on Steam. Really, the only way to play it is if you can track down an original copy of either the CD-ROM or the DVD, or by downloading it from an abandonware site or archive.org. I mean, I get why it's not readily available. I think FMV games that weren't huge commercial successes often kind of get put to the side. But it is sad. I want to see more game preservation. So maybe, who knows, maybe GOG will bring it about. They've been bringing a lot of stuff to their platform in the most recent years. They've been running a service where you can like nominate a game for them to look into. And they've said their goal is to put any game that they can as long as it is available. I think they actually hired, I think I was reading that GOG had to hire private detectives to find rights holders for some game that they really wanted to put on their website. Like they do a lot of work to get games that not a lot of people play. And I commend them for it. So hopefully Silent Steel is one of those games. But if you want to play Silent Steel, you can certainly look out for it, or you can try one of the many other modern submarine simulation games that are probably a bit more interactive and replayable.
But it wouldn't have this great movie.
They wouldn't have the great movie. No.
You could think of Silent Steel as a movie. That happens
Silent Steel's
to be
a movie,
interactive.
yeah. Yes.
I do want to say that if you wanted to buy it on as a DVD, and you're like, I can pick up a DVD of this game that Zach and Seth were talking about, it's $144 right now. There's a listing for it, and there's one listing for it. Because the next listing after Silent Steel, the $144 DVD version of it, is Silent Scream, which is not Silent Steel. And I would, if you're looking for Silent Steel, I would probably not buy Silent Scream. Or the next listing is brand new silent Western films. That's only $7.
Yeah, that's Silent Steel. Classic game. Very nostalgic for Seth. A little nostalgic for me because
was one of the few games that we could play.
Yeah, that's a lot of like USAF and Hype the Time Quest, a bunch of demo discs that we had.
Hype the Time Quest. That was not a pack-in, though.
No. Silent Steel was a pack-in. Yes.
Pack-in, yeah. It was 100% a
With,
pack-in.
like,
I
Journeyman
remember the
Project and
disc
other stuff, yeah.
with they had the submarine like laser etched into it for like 10 minutes of gameplay.
yeah. It was great stuff.
It is a top-tier game, but I will say this, there are long plays of the game online on YouTube. If you are really interested in watching the hour-and-a-half movie that Silent Steel is, I would find a YouTube video and see. I'm sure there's YouTube iterations of like the different endings, and you could just watch the YouTube video. It is an interesting story, right? It's you have to like military stories because clearly it's a military story, but it's a good military story, very much set in the kind of late 80s, early 90s kind of aesthetic. You know, there's guys smoking cigars at a table in a pressurized submarine, so imagine the wonder of it all.
Getting into our retro rewind, Seth had me play Shattered Steel for MS-DOS, and I had a lot of trouble getting this game to work. I tried to play it through Exodus, it is listed there. I downloaded it, I booted it up, I did the settings to get it to work, and it just kept crashing on me. I tried to launch it about 4 or 5 times, and it crashed, and eventually I just realized I wasn't going to get it to work this way, and I didn't really have time to figure out how to get it to work. So I'm going to say for Shattered Steel that I don't know if it holds up. I did look up some gameplay. I did watch some gameplay, and I looked at some photos. It reminds me a lot of MechWarrior, that's for sure. And I did play a lot of MechWarrior 3. That was a really fun game. I remember having that. But I don't want to judge Shattered Steel after just looking at its footage, so I'm not going to say whether it holds up. I will say I will keep trying to get it to work, and maybe I'll revisit it. But for now, I'm going to leave this one as incomplete, and I'm sorry, listeners, for disappointing all of you. Next week, Seth, I want you to play Ultima Quest for the Avatar for the NES.
Okay. Shattered Steel, the box of Shattered Steel reminds me of a Goliath from StarCraft, like a classic Goliath.
The mechs look like ATSTs, too. They're like chicken walkers.
Zach had me play Willow for the NES, which was released in the Japanese and North American markets in 1989 and released in the European markets in 1993. Willow is based on the movie Willow, which was released in 1988. The NES game was developed and published by Capcom, who also developed and published an arcade game that was released in the same year based on the same franchise called Willow. So they had 2 Willow games, one in the arcade and one on the NES. They are not the same game. So if you thought the arcade game was in the home console world, you'd be incorrect. It's an entirely separate game. The arcade game was a side-scrolling beat-em-up, and the NES game was a Zelda clone. The game has you playing as Willow, and you wander around a village talking to villagers, getting equipment to go out into the woods to fight bubbles. I guess that's what they look like. They're bubbles, and then there was this wolf creature. There is apparently a quest that you have to undertake. I went out into the woods, walked around, killed some bubbles, killed some wolves, and then was killed. It was a fun adventure. There is a password system that they use. If you get to a point that gives you a password and you want to resume your play, the password is 18 characters long, including uppers and lower cases. So if you wanted to write that password down, get ready for a hand cramp as you write down 18 characters down. So yeah, not a great password system, but at least it had one. Overall, the game was a Zelda clone, specifically Legend of Zelda, the OG for the NES, and it played like one, especially the combat, except it wasn't as good. It was definitely middle tier when it came to a game. It's not bad, it's just also not Legend of Zelda, and it's decidedly a Zelda clone. The visuals and the gameplay really tie back to a really classic type of game that came out during that time, a la Zelda clone, so they do stand the test of time, but I would say only if you are a true Willower, I guess. If you love the Willow, should you play this game? Next week, Zach, you could play Willow for the arcade.
Okay, I will. Well, thank you everyone for listening to this episode on Silent Steel. If you have any memories ever playing Silent Steel or any thoughts on Silent Steel, you can email us at classicgamingbrothers@gmail.com. We're available wherever podcasts can be found, be it Podbean, iTunes, or iHeartRadio. We're available on social media, Classic Gaming Brothers or CG Brothers Pod. We're also available on our website, www.classicgamingbrothers.com. Seth, am I forgetting anything? watching.
Don't play games like my brother.
And don't play games like my brother.
I've been Seth.
And I've been Zach.
And we've been the Classic Gaming Brothers.
That's right.
That's right.